Another aspect of doing long duration missions where you're venturing off into the frontier, whether it's space station or whether we're going beyond low Earth orbit. And this has to do with the personal attitude of the crew members that are on the mission. And I'll kind of sum it up by saying you have to have a bit of a sense of humor and allow things to change from what you originally thought they might be. And I'll use a personal example from my first space flight, Expedition 6, to the International Space Station. We launched on a space shuttle, STS-113. We were deposited on space station. It was going to be one of the shortest missions to date. It could have been possibly as short as 6 weeks, maybe 2 months. And then Columbia happened while we were on orbit. Shuttles were grounded for 2.5 years, and our mission got extended to almost 6 months. And so there's an example that you have to have a mindset that things could change and enough of a sense of humor so that if your mission changes from 2 months to 6 months, it doesn't send you into a state where you can't complete your mission. Another aspect of this mission extension with the shuttles not flying was that the resupply, the logistic resupply of consumables was severely hampered. And we were sitting on a mountain of food and a mountain of clothing and a mountain of supplies that were there for our mission and subsequent missions. But the chances of getting these replenished at the rate needed was all of a sudden reduced. And so we as a crew had to start rationing our usage of food and rationing our usage of water and rationing our usage of clothing, even though we were sitting on this huge mountain of all these resources. And we voluntarily did this so that future crews would have the resources they needed before we got the space shuttles flying again and could get the logistics supply chain back to its normal state. And so we would stretch our clothing out longer than what it was initially intended. Initially, we were to wear a pair of underwear and socks and a t-shirt for 3 days. And having no way to wash these aids in a weightless environment, then they're just discarded as rags to mop up stuff, and then finally discarded with a fiery deorbit trajectory into Earth's atmosphere. We stretched our clothing out to 8 to 10 days. And we would wait until we started to get a little rash around our waist before we change our underwear. And that was sort of our signal that says, hey, I think it's time to get a new pair of skivvies. And we did this voluntarily. We did this with a sense of humor because it was necessary in this frontier environment to preserve these resources for future crews. And human beings as a species are incredibly robust. We may like to take a shower every day. We may like to stuff our belly full of all kinds of delectable things for dinner. But if you live in a situation where you can't do that, human beings can continue and flourish in spite of the lack of all of these pleasantries. And if this were not the case, I think human beings would be one more fossil layer eroding from some hillside in the plains of Ethiopia. And this feature of human beings to do this is what is going to allow us to expand and into the space frontier and eventually colonize and settle our solar system.